Hey there, this is Finn and Pip's channel, Covenant of Promise. Today I'm going to be reading from Jeremiah 23. From the start, I'm going to get as far as I want to get. Woe be unto you, the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord. Therefore thus saith the Lord, Jehovah of Israel, against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, saith the Lord. And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all the countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set up shepherds over them which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, saith the Lord. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Jehovah, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and the king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is the name whereby he shall be called the Lord of our righteousness. The Ten Commandments. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, which brought up, and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country. North country, figure it out. And from all the countries whither I have driven them, Israel, and they shall dwell in their own land again. Mine heart within me is broken because of the prophets. All my bones shake. I am like a drunken man, and like a man whom wine hath overcome, because of the Lord, and because of the words of his holiness. For the land is full of adulterers, for because of the swearing the land mourneth. The pleasant places and the wilderness are dried up, and their course is evil, and their force is not right. For both prophet and priest are profane, yea, in my house have I found their wickedness, saith the Lord. So you've got a lot to answer for, haven't you? Look at the whole world. Jeremiah is saying here that he is like a drunken man. Yeah? He says, the prophets, all my bones shake. I am like a drunken man, and like a man whom wine hath overcome, because of the Lord and because of the words of his holiness. Yeah? For the land is full of adulterers, because of swearing the land mourneth. The pleasant places of the wilderness are dried up, and their course is evil, and their force is not right. For both prophet, which I spoke to today, and priest, who tells lies, are profane, yea, in my house, yea. Have I found their wickedness, saith the Lord, therefore their ways shall be unto them as the slippery ways in the darkness, they shall be driven on, and fall therein. For I will bring evil upon them, even the year of their visitation, saith the Lord. So you better get your act together. Whoever I message today, whoever I got in touch with, you better listen. You better pick up your Bible and read what it said and start teaching the congregation that. Otherwise, you're on a slippery track, aren't you? And I have seen folly in the prophets of Samaria. They prophesied in Baal and caused my people Israel to err. I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem an horrible thing. They commit adultery and walk in lies. They strengthen also the hands of evildoers, that none doth return from his wickedness. They are all of them unto me as Sodom, and the inhabitants thereof as Gomorrah. That's who you are, all you churches, all you synagogues of Satan out there, that's who you are. And you know what? We don't want that. I'm not saying that because I want to look big. I'm saying that because I want you to go back to what's right. And if we go back, in this day's Judah, this is 23, verse 6, Jeremiah, in his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. Israel, the Christian church, is scattered amongst the Gentiles, and Judah, the ones who are standing in Jerusalem right now, calling themselves Israel, but they are not. I want them to snap out of their sickness. Judah shall be saved, Israel shall dwell in safety, and this is the name whereby he shall be called the Lord of righteousness, by his people. Yeah, by his people. So figure that one out. Or deny Messiah as much as you want to do it, because you keep on trampling him underneath the foot. I have seen also the prophets of Jerusalem, a horrible thing. They commit adultery. Christmas, Easter, deny Messiah, worship other gods, the golden calf. You fucking name it, they do it. And walk in lies. They strengthen also the hands of evildoers, that none doth return from his wickedness. They are all of them into me as Sodom, and the inhabitants thereof as Gomorrah, who, as you know, were destroyed. Therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts concerning the prophets, behold, I will feed them with wormwood, and make them drink of the water of gall. What does it say about Jacob? There was no gall in his mouth. There was no gall in Jacob's mouth, you know. He was risen up out of the nations, right, to give the truth to everybody, and was hated by everyone, and was made the friend of God and called the enemy of man for the time. So, if you're not the enemy of man, then you are not Jacob, and you are not chosen. You are not the people who have come to tell the truth. If everybody thinks you're great and you've got loads of friends and a big congregation, because the devil deceived the whole world, and the path to righteousness was made for the sake of a few and not many. So if you're in a massive congregation, jumping up in the air, praising what Lord? The Lord of Mammon, then I'm sorry, that place is not for you. Therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts concerning the prophets, behold, I will feed them with wormwood, the poisoned waters, and make them drink of the water of gall. Lies. For from the prophets of Jerusalem is profaneness gone forth into the land. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, hearken not unto the words of the prophets that prophesy unto you. They will make you vain, and they may speak a vision of their own heart, and not out of the mouth of the Lord, which is the works of righteousness, which is don't want to know Jew nor Christian. They say, still unto them that despise me, the Lord hath said, ye shall have peace. And they say unto every one that walketh after the imagination of his own heart, no evil shall come unto you. For who had stood in the counsel of the Lord, and had perceived and heard his word? Who had marked his word and heard it? Behold, the whirlwind of the Lord is gone forth in fury. The 144,000 standing behind Messiah. Even the grievous whirlwind, it is fall grievous upon the head of the wicked. The wicked, the one who goes against his covenant. You've only got one thing. The only thing that stands in the whirlwind is his righteousness, which is his covenant. I don't have to do no works. Anyone who calls my work grievous, even unto their house, I shall bring sorrow unto their house. Not just you, your whole family. Don't call the works of the Lord a burden. For who had stood in the counsel of the Lord, and who had perceived and heard his word? Who shall mark his word and heard it? Behold, the whirlwind of the Lord has gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind. It shall fall grievously upon the head of the wicked. The anger of the Lord shall not return until he have executed, until he have performed the thoughts of his heart. In the latter days ye shall consider it perfectly. But you don't consider your latter end, do you? All you churches and all you synagogues and all you people out there, you don't consider your latter end. But you know what? This is what he says. In the latter days, you shall consider it perfectly, because he comes like a thief in the night, and he shall not tarry. So, anyway, let's continue. I have not sent these prophets, yet they ran. I have not spoken to them, yet they prophesied. But if they had stood in my counsel and had caused my people to hear my words, then they should have turned from their evil way and from their evil doings. I am Jehovah at hand, saith the Lord, and not a God afar off. Can any abide himself in secret places, that I shall not see him, saith the Lord? Do not I fill heaven and earth, saith Jehovah? I have heard what the prophet said, that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies? Yea, they are prophets of deceit of their own heart. They said this at the very beginning of I think it was 14 something, very first Bible, second page or something of the Bible, of the, is it the Gutenberg edition? These are a pulpy people who beat the anvil of the gospel with their own hammers. They make their own righteousness up. They forget the righteousness of God and proclaim their own righteousness. You know, read Romans 10 if you want to know more about that. How long shall this be in their heart, their prophets that prophesy lies? Yea, they are prophets of deceit in their own heart, because they beat their anvil of the gospel with their own hammers, which think, of course, my people to forget my name by their dreams, which they tell every man to his neighbour, as their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal Peor. That's the devil. I'm not even going to say any more, but they forgot my name for the name of Baal. And their pastors and their priests preach wickedness. Who does that sound like? Does that sound like the church you go to? Because it sounds like it to me. Jesus? Oh yeah, that's not his name, is it? Whatsoever. You forgot his name for Baal. Now wake up and listen to what the scripture says. The prophet that had a dream, let him tell a dream. And he that hath my word, let him speak my word faithfully. What is the chaff to the wheat, saith the Lord? Is not my word like the fire, saith the Lord, and like the hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces? Therefore, behold, I am against the prophets, saith the Lord, that steal my words, even one from his neighbour. Behold, I am against the prophets, saith the Lord, that use their tongues and say, he saith. Behold, I am against them that prophesy false dreams, saith the Lord, and do tell them, and cause my people to err by their lies and by their likeness. Yet I set them not, for commanded them. Therefore they shall not profit this people at all, saith the Lord. And when this people, or the prophet, or the priest shall ask thee, saying, what is the burden of the Lord? Thou shalt say unto them, what burden? I will even forsake you, saith the Lord. And as for the prophet and the priest and the people that shall say, the burden of the Lord, I will even punish that man and his house. So if you say his covenant is a burden, he's going to punish your whole family. So as a man, you better stand up and start doing his covenant, because if you say it's a burden, right, and teach other people to do so, your house will be a burden to you. So that's up to you, isn't it, pastors and priests? Because I'm sick of hearing your bullshit, to be fair.
Number 2, fuck you.
And the burden of the Lord mentioned before, every man's word shall be his burden. For ye shall perverted the word of the living Jehovah, the Lord of hosts of our God. Thus shalt thou say to the prophet, that hath the Lord answered thee, and what hath the Lord spoken? But since ye say the burden of the Lord, therefore thus saith the Lord, because ye say this word, the burden of the Lord, I have sent unto you, saying, ye shall not say the burden of the Lord. Therefore, behold, even I will utterly forget you, and will forsake you, and the city that I gave you and your fathers, and cast you out of my presence, and will bring an everlasting reproach upon you, and a perpetual shame which shall not be forgotten. You know, so hearken unto those words, churches, pastors, priests, and understand what it says in Jeremiah 3 before it's too late. Till next time.